Hi, Jeremy. How are you?
Hi Sarah, how's everything with you today?
Oh, just embracing the dark evenings and just the sheer lack of sunlight. But I am happy that the Christmas spirit is starting to kick in. I'm a big fan of Christmas.
Yeah, definitely. And for those of you who are wondering where we are in Ireland, so we're that little bit north. And due to daylight saving, it has been dark since 4:30, so we have to live with this. But it was December the 22nd is our longest day, so everything after that, the days get a bit longer again. So we're looking forward to that.
Exactly. Ah, yes, the New Grange shortest day of the year business. Ah, yeah. It's all good times. But sure, look, we're all going to start getting into that Christmas spirit and, hopefully lots of hot chocolate and Christmas movies. Well, that's my plan anyway. Right, so today we're going to, as you can probably see from the title, we're going to put the spotlight on Santiago. So I'm actually just recently back from Santiago myself, and I have to say it is such a lovely city. So we're just going to take you through a bit about the city, what it's like now, obviously in our current situation, and then, if you have any questions, do feel free to ask us as well. So, first, Jeremy is going to give you, for those of you that are new here, Jeremy is going to take you through a little bit about who we are and what we do.
Thank you, Sarah, and I'm very jealous that you got to go to Santiago. It's been an interesting year for travel, but with a few stops and starts, it's looking like it's stabilising a bit. Even with the recent news, there hasn't been too much of an effect on travel. So, for everybody out there who's new, what we do at Camino Ways, well, the Camino Ways says it all itself. We organise walking and cycling tours on all the routes of the Camino de Santiago. These tours can be guided or self-guided. The majority of people who walk with us would do it self-guided, which is no problem because the route itself is so well marked and mapped, and with a lot of other people walking it, so you'll join in the camaraderie and the fun of the Camino. We provide accommodation. Generally, we start with three-star hotels, which are available around every 15 to 20 kilometers of each section of the Camino. And we also provide you, which is one of the things really people love us for, is the luggage transfer. So while you walk, we will pick up your luggage and we'll drop it to the next hotel. For the hotels, the accommodation we can upgrade you as well to 4 or 5 stars when and where available. Also, there's the stunning power doors on the route in some locations, which we can upgrade you to as well. And the power doors are essentially they're monasteries and castles of olden days Spain that the Spanish government, within private public partnership, they've created hotels with them, and they're just incredible places. Um, we do have a 24/7 assistance, which essentially is an emergency phone. This is specifically for any issues you may have while en route and out of office hours. Things like checking in, maybe your luggage might not have arrived. For really serious emergencies, we always advise that you contact the local emergency services, and we have information on all of that on our website. And we work well with anyone who wants to walk or cycle the Camino, individuals and groups. So it's essentially individuals are people who wish to go self-guided, and groups are people who obviously large amounts of people who wish to walk the Camino and have a guide and maybe have a few tailored services specifically for their group. The largest group we've worked with is up to 60, 70 people, so a lot of people walking the Camino. But generally, the group sizes would be about 20. For the cycling the Camino, we offer hybrid trail bikes and e-bikes as well, for those who feel they want a bit of electric assistance. And we do hire the bikes as well, so that's a great service. I'm just going to move on to the next slide there, please, Sarah.
Yep.
So you can see a map here of Spain and southern France, which is Portugal, which is essentially where most of the Camino is located and where most people want to go to walk. In big yellow writing, you see Frances. So that is the most popular route of the Caminos, the Camino Frances. Why is it called the Camino Frances? Well, essentially, it starts in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, which is just on the Spanish-French border at the foot of the Pyrenees. And you spend the first day walking across the Pyrenees into Spain, and then continue along kind of northern Spain through Pamplona, Logroño, Burgos, along the Meseta, through the Huaca region, and then into Galicia, finishing in Santiago de Compostela. This is definitely the most popular route by far. It's what 90% of people do when they walk the Camino, and especially the last 100 kilometers of the Camino from Sarria to Santiago. The Portuguese way coming from Lisbon up to Santiago is definitely the second most popular route, but mainly from Porto to Santiago, walking along the coast from Porto to Bayona or Vigo, and then continuing on to Santiago de Compostela. We have the northern way from San Sebastian, Santander, Bilbao, Oviedo, down to Lugo and into Santiago. That's, again, it's a popular route because it's largely coastal. Bilbao, San Sebastian, Santander, excellent cities to experience and see food, culinary, and fun. But the route itself, walking on the northern coast, is really good. And then you have the English way coming from Ferrol and just the north tip of Spain there, walking down to Santiago. It's about 120 kilometres, a very short route, excellent route if you're there for a quick visit. And what you can see there is from Santiago de Compostela out to Finisterre, which is the traditional end of the Camino. So from walking from Santiago out to the western sea of Spain. So that is it's where traditionally the Camino ends. So that's a quick synopsis of the Camino, the routes, what we do, and how we do it. If you have any questions, type them there, and Sarah can voice them out, and we'll answer those questions. But Sarah's going to take over now, and she's going to tell you about her experience in Santiago de Compostela. I think it's your first time to visit the city. Is that right, Sarah?
Yeah, it was my first time to visit Santiago and Galicia completely. So, and I love Spain. I mean, I have previously lived in Madrid and I've traveled a lot of it. So it was really interesting to see a bit of the northern part. And I instantly fell in love, which I heard people do. But until I got there, I didn't want to believe them. You know, a bit cynical, but it is a wonderful, wonderful part of the country. So we're gonna look at, some of the things to eat, drink, which to me are two of the most important parts about travel, and some of the highlights to see, and then just touch a little bit on what the city is like now in the COVID situation that we're in. As you can see from that picture, that is one of the glorious pieces of food I ate. The famous pulpo, don't want to butcher the pronunciation, but afaria, I believe, and then some padron peppers in the back, and obviously wine because it's wonderful. So I do think the food is just such a highlight. Have you had pulpo yourself, Jeremy?
I have, and probably way too much of it every time I go because I load plates of it. Pulpo is octopus, pretty much just boiled all day. Then I think it's lightly fried, covered in paprika, and just put on a plate. And it's straight out of the ocean. And it's Moorish, which is a good word for that part of
It's a
Spain. So
very good word.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, stunning. But that food, that just picture there is just, I want to go downstairs now and cook some.
It is, and you know what? Like, I will say, as just to any squeamish or picky eaters out there, like, do give it a go. Like, when I first saw the plate, I was a little like, oh, but once you take that first bite, it's so good. Then you will do as Jeremy does and eat plates upon plates until the cows come home. So a little bit about Santiago. The old town is actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site, so that covers the cathedral, the old town walls, and the streets. And just because the pilgrimage itself is UNESCO recognized as well, and pilgrims have actually traveled to Santiago since the 10th century, so it's been going a while. So if you make your pilgrimage to Santiago, whether it's for fitness, religious reasons, for whatever, you are basically joining a centuries long tradition, which is quite amazing, and it's great to feel really small in this world, really. It's just, we're only a fraction of all the people that have come before us. And obviously, the Cathedral of Santiago and Santiago itself is the finish line or the finishing point for most of the Camino routes. So, that picture there, I actually am a bit of an early bird when I travel. This was sunrise, about 7:30 in the morning, and there's just a lone pilgrim heading off on his journey. And that's kind of what it's all about, really. You get up when you're, whatever time you want, the road is yours, open road. And there were quite a lot. It's quite nice to just observe people. I wasn't walking this time, but it was quite nice to observe the people. So the main sites,
Yes,
obviously. Oh, sorry, go on.
sorry, yeah, one of my favorite things to do is when I'm there is just spend time in the square in front of the cathedral and watch people finishing their Camino. And some of them may have walked just 100 kilometers, but some people may have walked thousands of kilometers because people walk from all over Europe to Santiago, and it is everybody has the same reaction, which is pretty much dropping their knees and get very emotional. But it is fascinating to watch and hear people and listen, and it's one of the best places to be, definitely.
I did spend quite a lot of time there and I saw exactly that. Like it was great. People were lying on the floor. I was actually taking pictures for people because they saw me sitting and they were like, "Oh, can you take a picture?" And they were all so happy. It was just, yeah, it was really nice to just. There's a great atmosphere in the city. Even November would be maybe more of an off season than the summer, but it was still such a good atmosphere. So some of your main sites, we've obviously got the Cathedral, the Old Town, Alameda Park, and the Abastos Food Market. And do I go into detail? Yes. So the Cathedral, I have to say, if you have not done this, do absolutely tour the tower. So if you get a ticket for the tower of the museum, they take you right up to the rooftop and the views are just spectacular. It was one of my favorite things I did the whole weekend I was there. Like just to actually just go up to the cathedral, you can bird's eye view of all of the people and it's brilliant. Have you been to the top of the tower, Jeremy?
Yeah, and wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
It's an amazing because you kind of to get up there, you have to go into the bones of the cathedral, kind of up through
Yeah.
the alcoves and arches, and you go up and up and up, and suddenly you kind of come up onto the roof behind those two fantastic towers there,
Yeah.
and you can walk around the roof out and see out the back. You just see all around you, around the city as well, and see the people in the square below. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Very easy to book. There's a ticket office just beside the cathedral. You can go and book your tour.
Yeah.
And I can't remember how much it is, or even if I
12
did pay for
euro,
it,
I
but
think, yeah.
12 euros,
About
well, it's
12
well
euro.
worth it. Well
Includes the
worth it.
museum as well. It was, yeah, and they're very friendly in there. I tried to ask in Spanish. My Spanish is not flawless, but they have English as well. But, I always recommend trying to speak a bit of Spanish anyway. But yeah, very easy to book it. Within the church itself, then, there is pilgrim masses still going and confession and all of that is open. So the church is completely open and functioning. I myself, I sat in there. I wouldn't be, we'll say, an attendee every week, but there was such a lovely atmosphere in the church, whether you are religious or not. When I was in there, actually, a woman just started singing a hymn, and nobody else joined in, but her voice just echoed throughout the cathedral. Mass hadn't started or anything. It was actually really beautiful. There's a really, really nice atmosphere inside that cathedral, which I have to say I mean, I know everyone that visits Santiago visits the cathedral, but if for some reason you weren't planning to visit the cathedral, visit it. It's beautiful and spectacular.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things, if you have the opportunity to see, is the Pontificario, which is where they have the giant incense ball, which they
Mm,
swing throughout the cathedral. And while the chaplain's giving his sermon, it's literally just going 60 kilometers an hour straight across in front of him, with about 9 monks pulling the ropes. It's an incredible sight. It's very medieval.
that would be cool.
And they do it most weekends, kind of around the evening mass time. And there's usually about 3 masses a day, every day. It is a little bit up to the cathedral when they do the Pontificario ceremony, but definitely during kind of between April and September, it's done pretty much every weekend. Um, and the lovely story about it is when people have asked me, well, where did it come from? Essentially, as you said, people have been walking to Santiago since the 10th century. One of the traditions when the pilgrimage started was that you never change your clothes. So when people arrived into Santiago and into the cathedral, it was a bit smelly. So in order to combat that, they used to swing this incense, the incense throughout the cathedral to dampen the smell.
Wise
And I think
move.
that's where, yeah. So all these things have a very simple reason why it started, but it's now become a tradition. So it's yeah.
I love it. I've touched on this already, but for those of you who don't know, Galicia is the foodie capital of Spain. So if you have any desire at all to eat anything, that is where you need to go. So pulpo, I mentioned that already, but I'm obsessed with jamon iberico. So everywhere I go in Spain, I must eat it. It has to happen. So I had my fair share of that. But the tarta de Santiago is really delicious. I actually even though he was maybe a bit jealous that I went away, I did bring back some of it to my lovely coworkers, and it is a really delicious treat. And you can see it everywhere. A mistake I made, which I will give you the tip now. So, anybody who goes to Santiago, go to the food market to get your Tarta de Santiago. I didn't. I just bought it in a random shop. It's about half the price in a market. So, just a tip, but definitely eat whatever you can while you're there because it is really hard to find a bad meal. Honestly, it's just everything tastes good.
Yeah, I mean, and just around the edges, around the old town, behind the cathedral and to the sides, there's lots of lovely small little restaurants and cafes and bars where you'll be highly entertained. So Santiago is quite a compact city, so you know a good day and a half or 2 days in the city will really give you a good oversight into what the city's about and give you a great experience and definitely go out at night, experience the bars, the cafes and restaurants, and there's a lot on offer.
Yeah, I was quite a nice fan of the Estrella de Galicia. That beer was it was quite nice. They and obviously wine too. Not being an Irish stereotype of an alcoholic at all. um, So actually, if you look at this picture now, you can see, so this isn't even up as high as the tower, but this is from the third floor of the museum. So they have an outdoor balcony and you can get a lovely view of all the people walking around. And this was early in the morning in November, so I think there's a pretty good crowd considering everything. You can see they've got their layers on as well. But yeah, I would really recommend the nice bird's eye view. So obviously, when I went to Santiago, it was the beginning of this month, around the 5th and 6th of November. So obviously, we're in COVID times, but it did have a sense of normalcy, dare I say it. Obviously, the tourist attractions are all open. In Spain, they do have a rule where you should wear your mask outside if you're around people. So, everyone had their masks on. There is a high availability of sanitizer everywhere you go. But the restaurants and bars and cafes were open, they were busy. So I suppose as normal as you can get in these times, that's what it felt like in Santiago, as long as you follow the rules and wear your mask.
Yeah, I think Spain's been at the kind of top of the table for combating COVID and actually putting in not so much restrictions, but putting in facilities to enable people to have to experience the cities and the trail, especially on the Camino. So the hotels, the restaurants, the bars, they're all highly sanitized. Hotels between use as well. Your rooms are highly sanitized. We've had people walking the Camino since July. We've had a lot of people walking the Camino since July. And we've asked the question, and so far the answer has been absolutely no experience of COVID. Uh, Nobody's got COVID to our knowledge. So, this is really encouraging for us, even with kind of, I suppose, the news that's been thrown about at the moment. We feel that there's a very positive outlook on travel and how people are going to travel. Obviously, we're in the off season now, but most people will be traveling again from kind of late March into April. And we do feel that at that point, we'll be in a good situation. Just on that photograph, just in the distance, you can see the famous Power Door, which is the Power Door Santiago. And 5-star Power Door. So if it's something, if you want to treat yourself, it's definitely worth the step up, I suppose.
Yeah, well, from the outside, I did have a little sneaky look. It did look sensational. Absolutely, like
Yes.
it was gorgeous looking. And they've got some nice views from the terrace. I did have a look around there. And yeah, actually, just on that, Spain has over 80% of people are fully vaccinated as well. So they have been doing really well and they've handled it so well. So definitely a great country to be visiting. Just some general observations, which I always like to make when I visit a new place. So, I mean, that if you've been to Spain before, you'd probably agree with me that the Spanish people, they're just very friendly, especially up in Galicia. They were so nice. I mean, I was walking around by myself attempting to speak Spanish, and they humored me, but then sometimes would just reply in English, knowing I wasn't a fluent speaker. I've said it already. It's hard to find a bad meal. The food is delicious. And I don't know why I felt it needed a bullet point all of its own, but the Galician beer is pretty nice if you're looking for an easy drink to find. And if you can see from the picture there, so that is just a morning view. I clearly am a bit of an early bird lately, so it's another sunrise view. just over the city, and it's just gorgeous. You can get some nice city views from Alameda Park, or if you are feeling very up to the fitness level, you can climb up to a nearby mountain hill, which gives you stunning views of the city. Now, I was just not feeling that early in the morning, to be honest, but there are a lot of opportunities to get a good view of the city, which is sometimes hard when you're within a city. But it's another perk of it being such a small, compact city as well. But yeah, and so just a reminder, we do have a 2022 Camino offer going at the moment. So if you book your 2022 trip, you will get 10% off. But this offer is only available until December 31st. So if you're planning to travel the Camino in 2022, book it before Christmas and save 10%.
Yeah, and to book your Camino, we just need a 20% discount. Sorry, you don't have to pay in full or anything. It's just a 20% discount.
A deposit, is it?
Your 10%. But sorry, deposit. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, so you just need to pay your deposit, which is 20% of the total cost of your tour, and you'll get the 10% off. And that's available until the end of December. So it's on CaminoWays.com. You can go in, you can design your own tour on our specially tailor-made system. Or if you want to chat to one of our team, you can contact us. Just send us an email. We'll arrange to have a chat with you, or you can give us a call as well. So lots of ways to get in touch with us.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. And if you have any questions in the meantime, you can comment on our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram. It'll likely be me responding to you on that if you have a question, or you can contact us via the contact form on our website or via email. I'll reply to all of your comments there after this, and I can see you've been helping each other out answering them, so that's great. Love a bit of good community. And other than that, we probably won't see you next month just given the Christmas, but we'll be back in January with a webinar and get you all excited and ready for your trips in 2022. But that is it from us, and we will see you soon, I guess. And Jeremy, hope you have a lovely evening yourself.
Yeah, you too. I might go down and pop open a bottle of Spanish wine and eat some pulpo, I wish.
I feel like that would be a good chance. I mean, good luck trying to find it here. Exactly.
Yeah. No,
All right.
not going to happen. All right. Thank you, Sarah.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. See you next time. Bye.
Good evening. Bye-bye.